Hey guys, I am Arielle Schmidt. I am owner of Tranquility Rising here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and here with my co-collaborator for this retreat that we're making in Oaxaca is Kelli Wefenstette, owner of Wildlight in Chicago.
Hey
Today,
everyone.
we're on today to kind of detail out what this retreat is all about that's happening in August, early August of this year. So I'm just going to introduce myself because there are plenty of people that might not know who I am. And then Kelli's going to introduce herself and kind of get you to know us a little bit better before you meet us down in Oaxaca. So again, I'm Arielle Schmidt. I'm owner of Tranquility Rising here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I am a Thai yoga massage practitioner, and I've been doing yoga since 2011. I got into my yoga journey by randomly signing up for a yoga class in college. And little did I know that kind of changed the trajectory of my life. I said I was going to figure out how to train in India. And fast forward 5 years, I ended up in India, completely emptied my bank account, didn't know if I could get off work, and just trusted the process. And the rest is kind of history. I love what I'm doing, and I get to meet this beautiful human, Kelli. We actually met in Bali 2020, like right when the pandemic was hitting, and we kind of instantly connected. It was like we had known each other from a karmic life. So we kind of shared this vision of bringing this elemental process together and really wanted to deep dive connecting people with their inner self through the elemental process. So I'm going to throw it over to Kelli, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself, and then we'll tell you more about the retreat that's coming up.
Thank you. Where do I start? So for me in my journey, the two most transformational experiences in my life have been yoga and traveling, specifically traveling internationally and traveling solo, that have just changed me in so many ways. I've been practicing yoga since 2008. I opened Wildlight Yoga in Chicago in 2018 and love the process of meeting people where they are on their freedom journey and really helping people understand their bodies, fall in love with themselves, and radiate, confidence and curiosity in every aspect of life. I was trained in Hatha yoga, but things really changed for me when I met Arielle in Bali, and we undertook our 300-hour elemental yoga training. I signed up for the trip knowing that I wanted to do, or not the trip, the training, knowing that I wanted to do a 300-hour training. I had no idea what elemental yoga was. And for me, it's that process of taking space to be in a different country, to fully immerse myself with a teacher and with a small group. And to learn elemental yoga was the piece that just put everything together for me. And it's so intertwined in the way that I teach now and the experiences that I seek to offer now, that when Arielle and I talked about bringing our teaching and our expertise from the bodywork aspect and the meridians and energy, body and mind from a yoga background, doing that in a space, in a place that is magical and spiritual seemed like a natural extension of what we already love for ourselves and to share with our students. So that's a little bit about me and how we got connected in that space, but I can't wait to tell you more.
So the reason that this retreat is actually located in Oaxaca is because Kelli's been there for the last 6 months, and she's going to tell you why she ended up choosing Oaxaca in the middle of a pandemic to kind of reset.
Honestly, I'm still trying to answer that question for myself. I've been in Oaxaca since I left for Mexico on Christmas. I decided to go somewhere where I could social distance and I could heal on my own and really take the next step in my yogic journey. I'll tell you about that more in just a moment. And bought a ticket, booked a place to stay, and was on a plane in less than 10 days without really telling anybody that I was going. I anticipated that I would be there for a couple weeks, and a couple weeks turned into a couple months, turned into 6 months, and I just returned to Chicago 48 hours ago for the first time since Christmas. It has been the most magical, life-changing place. And when people have asked me, why Oaxaca, Mexico? I've never even heard of Oaxaca. And I'm like, honestly, I hadn't heard of it either. In 2019, I was in a place of deep contemplation and really needed to get away from the city. I've made a habit over the past 6 years of taking a solo sabbatical to some place. Usually it's been in Mexico or in Central America, to just detach from the world, to like close out a lot of the sensory overload of being in Chicago, being in a city, and really focus in on myself and set goals and organize and plan and daydream and just really get back in touch with myself. This has been integral to my own personal yoga practice. So in 2019, I knew that I was coming to the end of a 15-year relationship and marriage. I was the executive director of a nonprofit here in Chicago, and so burnt out and overworked and just shutting down in a lot of ways, and felt like I had no way out. And so what do I do when that happens? I get on a plane and I go somewhere to reset. I ended up in Mexico City by myself, spent a couple weeks in Mexico City, and just really fell in love with Mexico City. I for the first time felt like this is a city aside from Chicago where I could live, but there's so much culture and vibrancy, but something under the surface that was calling me a little bit deeper. And I participated in a Temazcal ceremony there with a healer in Mexico City that really helped me to. The whole program was around like who were you before the world told you who to be. And in those moments, I knew that I needed to let go of a lot. The yamas, right? The yamas come first in the 8 limbs of yoga. Like, what do we let go of to make space? And during that trip, someone told me, if you like the spirituality of Mexico City, you need to go to Oaxaca. And I was like, what? Like, where? Where is this place? And they're like, go to Oaxaca. A couple months later, I flew back to Tulum and quit my job from an Airbnb in Tulum, sent my resignation with the rule to myself that I couldn't come back to Chicago until I had quit my job. A couple months later, signed up for the training in Bali and planned to go back east. And then the pandemic hit. Arielle and I were going to be traveling through India and back to Bali. And when the doors closed for that, something in the back of my mind said, Oaxaca, like Oaxaca. I knew nothing about it. I didn't even know where it was in the country except south, but I got really sick with an autoimmune flare-up this past fall, and it was miserable and didn't know what was happening. Even the first time that it happened to me, really sick and needing to detoxify every aspect of my life, from the chemicals in my home to my diet to my body overall, and things really changed. Going through that process alone, is a whole challenge in and of itself, and I thought, I need to go somewhere where there's sunshine and I can be alone to heal. And not only is Oaxaca it, there's something there for me. So I got on a plane and I showed up in this city that has just revealed itself to me and the culture to me and the people to me in so many ways. And you'll hear, you can ask anybody once you're in Oaxaca, and you're like, why Oaxaca? And people are like, you just know. There's just energy. There's just energy there.
I met Kelli down in Oaxaca for my birthday in February, and you just drop in. When you even arrive at the Oaxaca airport, there is a stillness that you would not expect. And then when you enter the city, you feel like you've been transported back in time a little bit, and you just know that you have all the permission in the world to just do what you need. Not anybody else, but really listen to what you need. And I was only there for 5 days, which for me, that's never enough. I was literally pouting as I was headed back to the airport. And I was like, I am going back. I don't know when, but I'm going back. And now I'm going back for a whole month to be with Kelli in August, and then we're bringing all of you guys hopefully with us at the beginning of August. So we kind of experienced a little bit of like why we're kind of both in Oaxaca. I had the same experience when Kelli was like, come to Oaxaca. And I'm like, where the heck is Oaxaca? And what do you know? It's like the perfect place.
The thing about Oaxaca too is that it has the charm and the culture and the depth of Mexico, but it has this energy protection that is so palpable the moment you step off the plane. Like Arielle said, it's hugged by the mountains, the Sierra Norte to the north, the Sierra Sur. It's not close to the beach. I mean, it is about 6 hours, but it's really tucked into the mountains in this place where culture is preserved. There's a whole food scene of all of the traditional dishes that are in Oaxaca. That's how most people have heard about it, from Anthony Bourdain. But with the food and with the artisan culture, what stands out is just the preservation and the non-disruption of culture and these lineages and practices and traditions that are so alive and so vibrant and so practiced in the way that they always have been. I was eating lunch with somebody last week, and as she took a bite, she said, "There's so much life in this food."
Love that.
And I feel like that sums up Oaxaca altogether. That you just step out and you're like, there's so much life here. There's such deep spirituality. There are these strong practices. There's a healing culture, and it's just so vibrant and artisan focused. All of the villages are known for a different kind of art and preservation of the culture that I haven't experienced anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. So tell us about the Zapotec villages that are actually included in the retreat cost. And then we'll kind of go into the Zapotec village culture that we can add on a la carte, per se.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. So the indigenous practices in Oaxaca are so beautiful to witness and be a part of. In Oaxaca, again, Oaxaca is a state and a city. But there are several villages around Central Oaxaca City, where a lot of our experience will take place. The village where our yoga practice will take place is San Felipe de Agua, which is in the mountains. It's about 15 minutes by taxi north of downtown or walkable, and just tucked into the mountains in this beautiful space. In terms of this retreat, it's a little bit different. We intentionally planned it different than your typical yoga retreat, because this isn't a typical space. This is a full embodied, like, spiritual and cultural immersion in these villages, in this culture, working with the people that I've made relationships with there. What I love is that everything that you can experience in Oaxaca is direct to the source. There's, you don't have to book companies or have foreigners in some ways like lead the experiences. We're working with people who are from Oaxaca that we've made relationships with, that are like dear friends at this point. And so we'll be going with them to the villages outside of Central with their friends and their family, and just, I love the community aspect here.
I was like, I think the best part of the Zapotec culture is that when you go to visit one handicraft space, it's not just one person, it's their whole family and their way of life. And you get to see their skills passed on generation after generation. And that's that lineage energy that just surrounds Oaxaca and really allows you to get like, ooh, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Get that goosebumps of like all the ancestors still being present in that space as they work on their handicraft.
Yes. And the families that we'll be visiting are the childhood friends of my teacher in Oaxaca. And so it's so neat to experience for her, and then these relationships that she's had, for the past 60 years. One thing that is really unique and just so amazing to experience is that each of the the villages, as Arielle was saying, is known for its own handicraft. So it's like you have the Black Pottery Village, you have the Red Pottery Village, you have the Weaving Village, you have the Alabrijes Village. And our experience with this retreat is to immerse and practice and to be able to cultivate some of this art work ourselves, or to have these hands-on experiences. So we have the yoga in San Felipe. We will have a private mezcal, the mezcal capital of the world, mezcal tasting and mole class in San Felipe. Oaxaca is known for its 7 different kinds of mole, 10 in total, but 7 different kinds. So we'll have that private experience.
You're gonna be so full when you leave Oaxaca. It's gonna be crazy.
So much food, so much food. We'll have a separate like food bucket list of all of the things to try. Grasshoppers, chapulines. One of the other villages that we'll be visiting is Teotihuacan de Valley. It's known as the Weaving Village. So we will work with a family, Samuel and his family, who's the oldest of 6, and the director of the facility, to take a weaving class there. They have everything on site, like learning how to dye the wool, card the wool, spin the wool. You'll see the looms in action, our own weaving class right on site, and then the ability to shop through their warehouse for the most incredible things, or see all of the products that they make from start to finish and be a part of that. Also in Teotihuacan is known for its candle making, and I'm not talking like a soy candle. I'm talking about these ornate, beautiful rose, floral, huge, like life-size type candles.
I will try to insert a picture here so you can see what she's talking about. They're amazing.
They're works of art. They're not like the candles that we're used to. And then we'll learn about the customs and the traditions around these candles and get to experience that too. The good news is, as we're going, everything is reopening. So all of the museums, the botanical gardens, street art tours will have ample opportunity for walking tours. And then based on your preferences, we'll have the opportunity to go to the other villages based on what you're interested in. So there's the pottery villages in 3 different types of pottery. So depending on what kind we want to do. We also have the Alabrijes, which Alabrijes, I wish I had one with me.
I have one.
Oh, yes. So there's these little carved and painted animals, and I won't even try to explain the spirituality behind them, but they're carved from copal wood, which is a sacred wood, also used to make incense and burn like Palo Santo, but they're hand carved and hand painted in a village that produces just those. And so we'll be able to paint our own Alabrijes, and you'll get to select the animal that represents you or that you resonate with. These are a few of the things that we already have planned, and then have the option to literally add on just so much for a very, very affordable price. Also like temazcal ceremonies, traditional limpias, or spiritual cleansing. I'll let you go forward with some of the other things, Arielle.
So like Kelli had mentioned, the week-long experience that we're doing in Oaxaca is to allow you to connect, whether you want to participate in everything or, add something else that we haven't thought of. As mentioning, we're in this beautiful private studio located right at the base of the mountains. And
it's not open to the public, so it will be for our use only.
And you don't have to bring anything. Everything is provided. You're welcome to bring your own yoga mat or any other space that you need to connect with yourself. Otherwise, just pack a bag and get on that flight. The other thing,
all you have to do is get here.
Yes. The other things that are included are your transportation to all of our scheduled excursions. So our scheduled excursions, like Kelli was talking about, is the San Felipe immersion of the mezcal and mole tasting. And then we're going to do the immersion of the process of doing those candle making classes, the cooking classes, and then the weaving classes, which we, when I was down in February, we actually got to do a mole making which was really long, intense, but delicious, totally worth the effort. And then we actually got to visit, and because the person that we went with was part of the weaving culture. And so we got to see not only his work, but side by side working with his dad and how they worked these beautiful rugs and wall hangings. And can't see mine, it's on a different wall, but I was able to pick up this beautiful mountain landscape that I will have literally for the rest of my life. Like, you're never going to get rid of these things because you can feel that energy vibrating off of them. We're also going to do that walking tour and go to like some of the different types of markets, because Oaxaca has 4 separate markets that are like completely different. It's like you just walked into like the most random part of town and you're like, did I just switch cities? Like, this is not the same place I just came from. So those are the ones that are included. And then like Kelli mentioned, we also have a ton of connections. Well, I should say Kelli has a ton of connections because she's been there experiencing and literally diving headfirst. So the Mont Albain tour is the ruins of Oaxaca. You can do the pottery class, the painting classes, the street tour with the artwork. And if you've been following us on Instagram, we did a photo shoot and you can see some of those amazing murals that we actually got to experience ourselves. The mezcal ceremony is completely different than just a traditional mezcal tasting. That's more of the spiritual side that we can go into. And then you can do literally anything else. I'm a Thai massage practitioner. So if you're not here in Cincinnati with me and you want to experience that, you can also add services with me privately. Or if you need some private yoga, either one of us can do that too.
And the really cool thing about this, so included in all of this is, I think, 8 or 9 different experiences, as well as the yoga, as well as the meditation and our own kind of spiritual ceremony. But then we have the ability to expand this really in any way that you feel motivated. For some people, you want to get there, you'll participate in the things that we already have planned, where you literally don't have to make any decisions. And we have all of this organized for you, and we'll go as a group. We're also keeping this intentionally small so that it's intimate and really hands-on in the villages and with the families that we're meeting, with these friends that we're meeting. But some other people may be really interested in all of the traditional spirituality and healing. We have connections with energy workers, Arielle as a body worker. We have other massage therapists. We can do one of the healers that we'll work with directly does like aura cleansing, temazcal ceremony. So if you want to take it really in a healing, body work, spiritual healing immersion, it's so accessible to go in that person. Some other people may be more motivated and interested in the hands-on artisan space. And these places, I know we're saying like different villages, but are very close to each other and accessible and easy to get to, and we can coordinate all of the transportation. It's very straightforward to get there and book you directly with a person. So it's not like they're showing up with a stranger or in a space for a class, like with a friend, with family of our friends for a like one-on-one class. These are big, experiences.
I think that's my favorite.
Really tailored to what you, really tailored to what you want. And then if you're also looking just for things that are unique, we can set you up with Spanish classes. We can set you up with a walkable like museum tour, and all the museums are free and open to the public. We'll just go and spend time in Central and be able to, I think I'm serious about making a food bucket list to just check off, all of these things. And maybe we'll just scavenger hunt in the markets. But it's small, it's accessible, it's walkable, it's easy. That's what has been so enlightening to me, is that even as a single person who's there by myself and speaks very beginner Spanish, I've been practicing a lot. it's accessible, it's safe, it's easy. You tell us what you want to do, and we can have it planned in advance, or we can have it planned that day, and you don't have to worry or make decisions about anything. Whatever you want to do, it exists. It exists there.
This is,
we can make that happen.
I would say this is the type of trip, if you're a person who loves to travel, or maybe you haven't traveled, but you love the idea of traveling, but maybe your friends don't have the same resources as you, or people have families and you just can't find that extra person to go with you, and you might not want to solo travel because it can be intimidating. These are the types of trips that I love as a single traveler. Like, let me show up, let me have some things planned for me, and then let me explore or add in anything that really calls to me.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks to a lot of us, especially as females. We get really nervous to travel by ourselves, and we just want someone to check in with us at the end of the night. Oh, awesome, you're back. I'm so happy, or whatever. Instead of just like getting off and going, I don't know.
And how many times have you been on a trip, Arielle, where you want to do something, but whomever you're traveling with, like, doesn't, right?
Oh my gosh,
and
yeah.
You have the people who go, I'm a person who, when I travel or get to a place, like, I want to sleep first. Like, give me 24 hours to just, like, do nothing and unwind, and then I'm ready to go. Or then you have the other people who are like, I want something planned for every second of the time. Because of where we're staying, in the village that we're staying, and people are booking Airbnbs together and nearby, and everything is walkable to the studio, very, very close. We can tailor this experience to the type of traveler that you are or that you aspire to be. I have friends who do guided hikes in the mountains, and we're literally 10 minutes from the base of the mountain. So if you are a person that likes some more excursion, we'll have somebody literally meet you at the door of where you're staying and walk with you in the mountains. If you want to read and hang out in the garden, or hang out in the studio, or just sit and meditate looking over at the mountains, you're in a completely safe, protected space to do that. If you want to spend more time exploring the market, we can do that with you. We can do that as a group. We can get you in a taxi and take you directly there, and have it take you directly there and bring you back. Whatever your level of comfort is, or discomfort. I don't know. I guess I just can't explain how simple it will be to really curate the perfect experience.
I can tell you that me and Kelli are both yes people. This is why sometimes we get in trouble, because we just say, you want to do this? Yes. You want to do this? Yes. You want to do this? Yes. And that's how we both ended up getting tattoos at a random house in Bali. And they turned out great, but this is the type of people we are. Like, we're here to support and hold space for you, whether you're the person who wants to book a hotel and sit by the pool and join us at will, or if you're the person who's like, yes, let me do everything and anything because I'm only here for 6 days or 7 days and I'm gonna see the world.
And honestly, if this sounds overwhelming to you, because we're in different places in our lives, right? Like, all of us who are speaking here or who are listening to this are in different places, and you're like, I'm paralyzed by the thought of choosing anything. The only decision you have to make is whether you're going to meet us in Oaxaca. Yes. We have a group flying out of Cincinnati. We have folks flying out of Chicago. If you want to travel with someone, we can likely set that up for you. We can consult on the airlines that we recommend you to go to. We can have transportation waiting for you at the airport, or walk you through every step of that. We can help you book wherever you want to stay. If you want to stay in an Airbnb, there's places that run from $7 a night, to $50 a night. So whatever your level of comfort with accommodations are, we are basically your
tour guide.
We can help plan. Yeah, we're your tour guide. We can help curate that experience for you. All you have to decide is, yes, I'm going, or no, I'm not, right? And if you're still listening at this point, you are probably a yes. So all you have to say is yes, and we'll take you every day from here on out. From now till the moment you return home.
So as we wrap up because we could go on forever, I swear I could talk about Oaxaca forever. So if you've made it to the end of this video and you're getting amped up or maybe a little nervous, like Kelli said, all you have to figure out is, yes, I just need to book that plane ticket and go. Because most of the time, the more we kind of hang in limbo, the more we get in our head. And if this pinged or sparked for you, then what's in the way? Like whatever is in the way will get out of the way as soon as you come to that yes or maybe the no.
Say yes and speak it out loud. We can help you work through that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm super excited for this trip. It's like 6 weeks away now. I think that's where we're at. Plane tickets are perfectly cheap now, like 6 weeks prior to flying. That's the time to grab them. So if you're ready to jump, we're ready to guide you the rest of the way.
Amazing. I can't wait to see you all there.
Yes, thanks for jumping on. I know it's a little hectic where you're at, but we'll be back in Oaxaca soon.
See you soon.
Okay.